So let's talk about the aptitude round. If you're looking at placements for 2026, you know this is the first and, honestly, the biggest hurdle. The game itself hasn't really changed, but your strategy is about to. This isn't about studying harder, it's about playing a whole lot smarter. Let's break down the winning playbook.
First things first, let's just get real about what we're up against. This number, 90%, that's roughly how many candidates get filtered out in this very first round. It's the great eliminator. It's designed to thin the herd before anyone even gets a chance to see your awesome projects or your technical skills. It's a brutal filter, for sure, but it's also a predictable one.
And this is the part that is so incredibly frustrating, isn't it? I mean, you can be a phenomenal coder. You could master data structures and algorithms, DSA. But literally none of that matters if you can't get past this first gatekeeper. This quote on the screen, it just nails that exact feeling. But what if we've been looking at this all wrong?
What if this isn't really a test of how much you know, but a game of strategy? A game with rules, with repeated moves, and with patterns that can be learned and beaten. And that, right there, is the entire idea behind this explainer. Success here is all about having the right game plan.
So every good strategy has to start with understanding the battlefield, or in our case, the game board. Before we can even think about planning our moves, we need to know exactly what this test looks like and what it's really trying to measure.
Now here's the best part about this game board. It's incredibly predictable. Almost every single company uses some version of these 4 sections: quantitative aptitude, logical reasoning, verbal ability, and data interpretation. And that is fantastic news for you, because it means the work you do for one company is going to be 90% relevant for the next one. The game board rarely changes.
Okay, so we understand the board. Now, let's talk about our high-impact hit list. This is where most people get it completely wrong. They try to study every single topic they can find, which is just a recipe for burnout. The real winning strategy is to focus, like a laser, on a small set of high-impact, frequently repeated topics.
This slide really says it all. We want to pour all our energy into these high-frequency topics, the ones that give us the biggest bang for our buck. And we're going to completely ignore all those complex, rarely asked topics that are just a massive waste of time. It is all about strategic focus.
For quant, this is your hit list. That's it. Percentages, ratios, profit and loss. These topics are the absolute backbone of almost every paper because they test fundamental business logic. If you can master the formulas and the patterns for just these, you've pretty much secured your ability to score well in the entire section. Don't get lost in the weeds with advanced geometry or crazy algebra.
Logical reasoning, this is all about pattern recognition and pure speed. The topics you see here are just standard puzzle formats. Your goal isn't to solve some brand new, impossibly complex puzzle. No, it's to recognize these familiar patterns so quickly that solving them becomes pure muscle memory.
And here you've got your quick wins. Verbal ability is often the easiest and, believe it or not, the fastest section to score in. If your basic grammar rules are solid, you can just fly through these questions, banking valuable time for other sections. And data interpretation? Just think of it as a practical test of your quant skills. It uses the exact same concepts, percentages, ratios, averages, but just presents them in a visual way. So mastering that quant hit list directly sets you up for success here too.
All right, so now we know what to study, but that's only half the battle. Now we need to talk about how to actually play the game on exam day. Because honestly, knowing the topics is one thing, executing under pressure is what separates the people who clear this round from the ones who don't.
Let's talk about the single most important rule of this entire game, the 1-minute rule. You have roughly 60 seconds, maybe 90 if you're lucky, per question. That's it. This isn't some leisurely math exam. It's a high-speed race against the clock. And this rule, right here, dictates our entire strategy.
So here's your strategy. Step 1, the quick wins. Go through the entire test and solve everything you know immediately. Step 2, and this is the real game changer, master strategic skipping. If a question stumps you for more than 20 seconds, it's a trap. Mark it and move on. Getting stuck is the #1 reason people fail. And third, the balancing act. Never ever sacrifice accuracy for speed. Rushing and making silly mistakes gets you 0 points. This list shows you all the common traps that can derail even the best prepared candidates. Things like getting emotionally attached to a single problem, not having a time plan, or just mindlessly practicing without ever analyzing your mistakes. We are going to actively avoid every single one of these. Which brings us to the final piece of our puzzle, practice. But again, we're not talking about endless random problem solving. We're talking about targeted, strategic practice that's designed to build your pattern recognition and your speed.
Here is the exact blueprint for practicing effectively. Keep a dedicated notebook just for core formulas and tricks. For each of those high-impact topics we listed, just solve about 10 to 15 problems. Seriously, that's all it takes to learn the pattern. And most importantly, always practice with a timer running. You have to condition yourself to thrive under that 1-minute rule.
So how many mock tests do you actually need? 20? 30? Nope. The answer is just 4. The goal isn't quantity. It's about using a few tests as diagnostic tools to perfect your strategy, find your weak spots, and really master your timing. And after every single mock test, this is what you do. The real work, the stuff that actually makes a difference, happens in the analysis. Where did you lose time? Which type of question tricked you? Why did you make that specific mistake? Answering those questions is way more valuable than just taking another test.
Okay, let's bring this all home. As you're heading into your exam, this is it. This is your final, distilled checklist. This is the entire game plan summarized. Look, if you are short on time and you can only master a few things, make it this list. This is the absolute core. This is the minimum set of skills that can get you across the finish line in the vast majority of aptitude tests. Think of it as your safety net.
So, you see, the aptitude round isn't some impossible wall. It's a filter. It's a game with a clear set of rules and very predictable patterns. And you know what? It is absolutely designed to be beaten with the right strategy. So the only question left is, are you ready to play?